I changed my mind about being a surrogate for my sister, she didn't take it well.
Oh, what stage in the process did we change our mind here? That's my question.
That's a very good question. Years ago, my sister found out that she would not be able to carry children traditionally and that her eggs would likely not be viable. She had complications and everything had to be removed. This is when she was 22 and she was absolutely devastated. By the way, this comes from I'm Sorry But I Can't. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my sister has always been very nurturing and loves children. We were the best of friends growing up, and we were still very close until this happened. At the time, and now I am child-free, so I told my sister that it was okay because I would definitely donate my eggs, and if I could surrogate for her, I would. And I really did mean it. I wasn't just saying it to make her feel better because I love my sister. And seeing her in such pain and thinking she was less of a person because of it devastated me too. I wanted to help her in any way I could. We pinky swore, a thing we did as kids when we really meant something. OP dropping pinky swear lore.
Yeah.
We pinky swore and she felt a lot better knowing she could have a child that was genetically very similar to her. And we do look very much alike. People call us twins all the time. She got married 2 years ago to a man who knew about her situation, but I guess also knew about the promise I had made. He very much wanted children too, but they are both against adopting because they want a child as genetically close to them and looking like them as possible. They are afraid of hidden health issues in a child unrelated to them. I didn't know she told her husband about my promise. And though I hadn't forgotten about it because she reminds me every once in a while, it wasn't something I thought about often because I was living my own life. Well, about a month ago, she and her husband came to me and told me they're ready to have their baby and it's time for me to make good on my promise.
Oh, wow.
So demanding.
Yeah, I feel like timing really should be something that OP should be consulted with about. You know, I feel like they can't just be like, at any second now, you can be pregnant.
Right.
Because I say so.
Right. Where it's like, remember your pinky swear? It's time for you to get pregnant.
Right.
It's like, all right, let's at least discuss timelines,
Yeah.
discuss, which maybe they are. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But that phrasing,
seem
it's
like
time for me to make good on my promise.
Yeah, ew.
You have one part where it's like, yeah, that's gross. But then also it's like making that commitment as OP, like making that commitment to your sister being like, yeah, I will surrogate for you and you can use my eggs.
Yeah, yeah.
You might not have realized at the time necessarily how big of a commitment that is.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
And I know that she says she meant it, but it's like,
Still.
well, yeah, now theoretically it's time to get pregnant.
Hard to imagine.
So I reacted with utter surprise because I felt like they sort of ambushed me and gave me no notice to be okay with it. But she just said, I've had more than 5 years to be okay with it. I guess because I was surprised, I didn't say I needed to think about it or anything. I just flat out said, no, I don't think I can do that. I explained to her that now I am in graduate school and working at a job I really like, that I just started and will have a career. I can't be pregnant for the next 9 months. And most places will not agree since I have no children. I'm also in a relationship with a man I really love. I've talked to him about this and he feels a bit weird about it the way I do. Having a child that is biologically my child with my brother-in-law, who we always have to see and see the child very often too. Over the years, I've just decided I don't feel right with a child that is biologically mine in the world. I guess it might be different if I never have to see the child, but it'll be my son or daughter running around. And my sister has already very adamantly said that she will tell the child about what I did for them and how they're lucky when I do not want that at all. I don't know if this is gonna be a hot take. I've been full of them today. OP, the moment you started feeling this, you needed to bring it to your sister. The instant that you realized, I would not do that.
Yeah, that would be smart.
You needed to bring it up. She also maybe wants more than one kid. And obviously, I would have to be the surrogate for all of them because they will not have children that have different mothers.
Wow.
What is this?
That's a lot to put on OP.
Yeah. On top of that, I am sensitive to medication. I don't want to be on fertility substances, and even without all these reasons, I just feel like this is not something I want. These are all very selfish reasons. I know, especially considering the gift I would be giving my sister of a child, the thing she wants more than anything. She called me later in tears, yelling, saying that I'm a liar and that to go back on my word and leave her childless just because I want that life makes me the worst kind of person.
That is so unfair.
It's really, yeah.
That is so unfair. This is not her fault at all. And there are so many other options. Like, come on. That is so unfair.
You know, your sister's devastated. You're like, let me help you. OP didn't realize maybe at the time, if OP had done it right then, maybe that works. Fast forward, you know, several years, half a decade. Now she's starting a career. She's got a boyfriend. You know, it's like, it's just it's not feasible anymore.
Right. I mean, the timing, I feel like, comes into play a lot because, again, like you said, like she's got this job going for her. She's like in school or graduating or something like that.
She's in graduate school.
Yeah. And so it's like
graduate
now
school, starting a career. It's like,
gotcha.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, maybe someday I would love to, or maybe like, you know, when I learn more about it or when I'm mentally ready, then like maybe then I could still do it eventually. But right now, not a great time for me and my body.
Yeah.
You know, my internal organs.
It's hard spot. Rock in a hard place type situation. I cried too and told her that's not why at all and tried to explain my reasons again. But she just said her husband will divorce her over this and could I live with that? Oh,
that's crazy.
Guilt tripping? Her husband's a nice guy, but he's always wanted kids. And this has always been in their relationship, so I can see how he would divorce over this. She's not just making threats. Honestly, I can't live with that, and she knows that. I know how badly this hurts her, and it hurts me too, but I just don't think I can do it. Later that week, my mother called to yell at me too. My cousins and aunts have said on Facebook that it's my body, but making these choices is selfish, and I'm really hurting my sister. They don't want to be involved, but they do not agree with me. My mother said I am not her daughter if I continue to behave this way and hurt my sister.
What? Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
You're literally like, your whole life would go on pause for a year. You're starting a career. You're trying to finish grad school. You're in your own relationship.
Yeah, come on, man.
My dad has been understanding of my points, but he doesn't want to live in a family divided, so he tells people to leave me alone, but will also not fight with my mom, who is way more aggressive than he is. It's been this way for the whole month, with my sister ignoring me, except sometimes when she messages me or calls me to be angry. My brother-in-law has messaged me, and my mom calls me daily to tell me that she did not raise me like this, and that her children know that giving your word is the most important thing, and that following through on your promise is the biggest deal, bigger than everything else, and that it is a comparatively small sacrifice for what I would be giving to my sister.
Girl, no.
Oh my God,
No.
that's toxic.
Not a small
I mean, keeping your
sacrifice.
word is one thing, but I think we're talking about this like it's like, you know, you said you'd go with her to the East Coast.
Yeah.
It's like, this is being pregnant for 9 months.
Yes.
And then having to see the kid all the time and feeling weird. Like, now, you didn't know?
Going through postpartum and not even being able to have your child.
Yeah.
Some people pass away during pregnancy. Like, that is not a small sacrifice.
Yeah. I know a lot of people will say it's your body, so do whatever, but it's not that simple to my family, and I don't want to lose all of them. Well, they're all going to lose you, not the other way around.
True.
I love them and my sister, and I know it's crappy to be mean to me, but it's also kind of crappy of me to go break my promise to her. True. Thank God. OP, I'm so glad that you just owned that.
Yeah.
How do I help them understand, or should I just do it? I'm really confused and unsure right now, and there's an edit to add. This is not the first time I've mentioned to my sister my reservations or told her that as my life changes, this becomes more and more impossible to do.
Wait a second.
She has also changed her mind many times about whether she could love a child that isn't hers. She has decided that she is happy being without a child. She has talked about how painful it would be seeing a child that isn't hers with her husband, and not only isn't hers, but is her sister's. I have been very open about how I feel along the way, and nothing in my post was new information to her. Just, it probably has never happened all at once in that explosion before. I feel like she is somewhat ignoring a lot of our conversations over the past several years and just fixating on what I said when we were going through this when we were 20 and 22 years old. But I also understand that because I know she's in so much pain. And she is right. I did make that promise, and I made that promise in earnest. I meant it. People should keep their word when they promise. But for people who are saying that I was not honest and never told her how I felt, that is just not true. I've told her how I feel every time she's asked me, and every time I've told the truth. There's an update.
Okay.
Now I'm firmly in the camp of you do not need to do this, OP.
Yeah, not at all. Big info revealed there.
I've been in that camp this whole time, but I was just in the degree of like what you could have done to prevent this. It's like nothing.
Yeah.
You were 20.
And you did it. She said multiple times that she wasn't so sure, like as she kind of gets closer, she feels like it's a little more impossible, which is like what you were saying is to say it earlier, and looks like she did.
And she just your sister completely ignored it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hit this update. Because of everything I read, I realized I needed to do my best to hear her and to also be heard. I sent my sister a text begging her to see me, to talk to me as we did in the past and not like enemies. I wanted us to be a team again, working towards her being happy. My sister finally called me and decided to come over. Almost as soon as she was in the door, she was in tears, hugging me and crying. I cried with her before she was ready to talk, and when she did talk, I was completely unsure of what to say. She told me that she was becoming okay with the idea of being childless for her life, and she knew that asking me at this time was literally the worst time she could have chosen. She told me that though the promise meant worlds to her back then, I was still a girl in her mind, and she used it only to feel better and relied on it too much to feel better even through the years. I've always been her little sister that she protects and watches out for, and she wasn't even sure if she could accept such a thing from me. She never really expected me to do that without actually talking to me about it, and that is partially why we have only had half conversations about it. It was a great source of comfort for her, but not something she felt like she could make real. Her husband, though.
Uh-oh.
Are we uncovering the real villain of this story?
Perhaps we are.
Don't forget the mom, too.
Great snakes.
The mom was not.
Oh, yeah.
great,
Dude, the whole family being like, I raised you better than this. I raised you to make babies.
Yeah, it's like, okay, grandma, calm down.
Yeah, that was mom.
That was mom. Yeah.
She's crazy.
Crazy.
Her husband, though, has been insisting that they have a child now and that it has to be that way. Even though she has told him many times that it was okay if I couldn't do it and that they could be happy without a child or a child that was genetically only related to his family. He disagreed with her and got in her head and convinced her to ask me. My mom had also begun to ask her when she would start this process, as it's often long and involved, so she felt pressured by all of her support systems to do this. So she did it in that way because of the pressure and because she knew I'd have to refuse. She apologized very much over this to me and wanted to sooner, but hearing me really say no reminded her of the hurt she went through back when she first found out. Since I was her rock then, she realized that she never had her own place to anchor her pain inside of her because it was anchored to me.
Whoa. Big therapy moments happening right now. That's crazy.
Ooh. She said it felt like going through all of that again, but alone, with her angry husband insisting that she find a way to make this work. She said she felt comforted by my family and mother siding with her, but realized it was still a way of not dealing with things by herself. She wasn't even fully aware of what was happening with them until she got back on Facebook and talked to our mom and was really upset by that. I was just as surprised as before, not sure what to tell her. I told her that if she had to go through a divorce or being childless, I would of course support her through that. She said she was not sure at all what she wanted and that it would be easy to stay with her husband and just let him hate me. But that didn't feel right.
Huh? What? Hang on.
Are we cutting contact or what?
I told her that it would be fine to me if I didn't lose her and if at the end of it he could be okay with other options. But she said this wasn't fair and she wasn't even sure what other options she wanted.
So now maybe she's thinking like, okay, this is a lot to put on OP, but at the same time, I don't really know if I would want other options. Well, because I mean, like she said before, if it's not her kid, she doesn't know how she would love it.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know. What I'm not getting is that she said this wasn't fair. I'm like, that sounded perfectly fair to me.
I mean, maybe not fair to OP with being like, well, you
it was
still
OP's idea.
I know, but I mean, it's still...
Oh, just about the husband hate?
Yeah,
her husband hating her?
Exactly. That wouldn't
being
be
like,
fair
yeah,
to OP.
I don't know. I would feel weird living with my husband that hates my sister.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
maybe,
fair.
Hopefully, that's what
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What else makes a lot of sense is that you can listen to full episodes with stories like this on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, your mind's gonna be blown at what you find.
Dude, absolutely.
Okay, we have a little bit more story left. Angie, do you have any finishing thoughts here?
It's just, I'm glad that they can have this conversation now, because before it was getting scary. It was getting scary. I was thinking that the pinky promise was gonna be held over her head for the rest of her life, but it looks like things are starting to calm down and that the solution is more on the actual couple having the child and not on OP. A little bit more, at least.
I'm glad there was
feeling hopeful.
The revelation that the sister literally never even wanted to. The sister was like, this is not going to really happen, right? This is crazy.
Yeah.
And her husband's like, you got to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the husband's wild.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, husband sounds pretty toxic.
Yeah.
But I digress. I'm not sure what to tell her now either or how to help. Her husband loves her very deeply, I know, and this hurts him. We're all just people trying to cope with something that is terrible and painful. I don't know if they will stay together or not, or if my sister is right in that they just needed something concrete to snap them out of the fantasy so that they could deal with this in their life and marriage realistically. I'm hoping that he is okay and that she is okay and that they can move away from this stronger. But whatever happens, I will support my sister. And that
Oh, good.
is the end of that story.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
The sissies stick together. Honestly,
Good.
I like that. I feel
like
like
it
that's
too.
probably the best way that could have gone.
Yeah. I feel good about that ending.
The husband
On the
is,
husband to figure out.
like, I get it. Like, you have a right as like a person. You're like, this is what I want. I want my kid to be like as genetically similar to me as possible.
Sure.
But like not considering the fact that OP is also a human being
Right.
who will be carrying the child
Right.
instead of just a machine, like a test tube of some kind.
Yeah, he needs to learn more about pregnancies and the horrors. So I think to really understand this
And the horrors.
situation because I'm scared. My father crashed my car and left me to deal with it.
He's just like, I'm going to go to the hospital. You go ahead and just take care of this. He just disappears.
Just walking off.
They find him in Tijuana.
I, 21 male, have been living at my parents' house due to recent life events. We have a pretty good relationship, but of course we have our moments. Well, about a week ago, my mom was at work and my dad needed to run by the store. He couldn't wait until my mom got back, so he asked to borrow my car. I agreed to let him have it as I didn't have anything I needed to do right then. By the way, this comes from OKSKD. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Well, about 40 minutes later, I get a call from him saying that he had been in an accident. Of course, that scared the crap out of me, and I made sure that he was okay first. He said that he was fine and explained the accident. Long story short, he ran a stop sign and smacked straight ahead into another vehicle. Luckily, no one got seriously injured, except my car. It's busted up pretty bad. Without going into much detail, the bumper, headlights, hood, and parts of the engine are all messed up.
Oof, that's really bad.
Sounds like it's totaled to me.
Yeah, you have engine damage from a bump?
Yeah.
That wasn't a bump. That was a smash.
That's a smash. I got my car in the shop and I'm still waiting on the estimated time it will take for me to get it back. Until then, though, I need a car to get to and from work. And that's where the problem is. See, me and my mom have different work schedules, but similar enough to where I could see us working something out. She usually goes in an hour earlier than me and gets off about 30 minutes before me. I figured I could drop her off, go to work, and then pick her up. Well, my mom hates the idea. She says that she doesn't want to have to rely on me to pick her up or get her to work on time.
Dang.
She said that since she wasn't involved in the accident, she shouldn't be affected by the consequences. Well, unfortunately, you do live in the same household as these people, so.
If you live in a place with public transportation, which is not everyone does,
Yeah.
that is the solution to this problem.
Yeah.
A lot of you, I'm astounded at the amount of people who are like, just refuse to take the bus with no other option.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I took the bus in my hometown, it'd be weird.
I was just thinking about that. Do they even have buses?
Again,
We do, but you have to walk to town to get to it.
A lot
It's like, might as
of
well just
places
walk to where you wanna
don't
go.
have very good
Yeah.
accessible public transportation, but if you have it, that's your solution right now.
Yeah. I told her it would just be until I got my car back, but she didn't care. I was expecting Dad to back me up, seeing as he's the reason I got into this mess, but instead he just agreed with her and said that I should find a different way. The problem is there is no different way. There's no good public transportation system in our town. We live about 45 minutes away from where I work.
Gotcha.
There's your answer.
Hey, it's like you read my mind.
Yeah, you like heard him talk to you or something like that. My dad then suggested I bike to work, which I quickly shut down. I'd rather not have to bike all the way to and from work every day when we could literally just share a car.
Yeah, but think of how pumped up your calves would be.
Dude, you're gonna be so strong.
Your calves
though.
would be yoked.
Yoked, dude. I told them it was unfair for them not to let me use their car since Dad crashed mine. Then they said that I was just being ungrateful as they were already putting a roof over my head and I shouldn't expect much more from them. I have no idea where they even thought I was being ungrateful. All I'm saying is, why would I choose a harder, more time-consuming way to work when there is an easier option? Am I being unreasonable? I feel like at the least, Dad could convince Mom to let me use their car since this is his fault. felt. But instead, he's just sitting there agreeing with everything she says. I would ask my siblings to chime in on this, but knowing them, they'll just agree with my parents. So am I the a-hole? We have some comments, but what do you think?
I don't think you're the a-hole, but
No.
I think, if depending on whatever the financial situation, if your mom's going to work and that money that she's making at work like contributes to keeping the house like your house, I think that you need to prioritize her getting to work.
I guess so.
But there's also like a situation where she could probably make it work where it's like we can both share the car.
Right.
So her being unreasonable after the dad literally who knows if it's totaled, but the dad crashed the car.
Right.
And
It's
then,
hurt.
To pull like we put a roof over your head and you're asking too much. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that one of the bare minimums for having children is we shouldn't be homeless, right?
Yeah, that's like legally what you have to provide.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure whether we were here or not, you'd have a roof, right?
Yeah.
Or you'd want one. So.
Right. It could fit more than 2 people in there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think is crazy. It's like it's really not much that she's asking. Because on the one hand, OP has to walk or bike over an hour at this point. Because if it's 45 minutes in a car, it's going to be so much longer walking and biking.
Yeah.
Or the mom just has to maybe risk being late sometimes. But that's not even guaranteed at all.
Right.
But there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, info. Do you pay for your own car insurance and upkeep on the car? Also, did you buy your car or did your parents? OP says, I bought the car and I pay for the insurance and any maintenance it needs. Comment number 2 says, not the a-hole. Your mom's objection is that she doesn't want to rely on you to get her to work on time. Ask her to take you to work and pick you up. Yes, you'll be inconvenienced by the earlier arrival time, but you will have arrived at work without having to take public transportation or ride a bike.
Boom.
Maybe you can start earlier and finish later, at least for the short term. Failing that, honestly, your father needs to own his errors here. He wrecked your car. He needs to get you to work while your car is being repaired. Maybe he's got a friend who owes him a big favor. Maybe one of your siblings can do him the favor of loaning you a car. Maybe he can come out of his pocket to pay for Ubers or a rental. Yeah. You have grounds to sue him as he created a problem that is impacting your ability to work. Your court case is the nuclear option though, and I wouldn't drop that bomb until I was already out of their house. Yeah, that's a big thing to go to.
Huge bomb. And I think this ignores that a lot of some of these situations just it's the finances. It's it's not feasible for me to go to court against my own father.
Yeah, I feel like if you're willing to go to court because of this whole thing, it's just don't go to work for the time that you don't have the car. That's the amount of money that you'll be spending.
Exactly. You're going to lose more money suing your dad for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
OP does respond to that comment saying, I brought up the idea of her dropping me off and picking me up. She says it will mess up her schedule and that she doesn't want to wake up any earlier than she has to. I feel like she's just unwilling to try to share the car.
That's true.
Yeah. Commenter number 3 says, this is insane. I hope your car at least is in your name so you have no trouble after getting it back. If not, make sure that he transfers the title and then take them off the insurance. It's not going to work, but I would first put it to them in terms of liability and use your mom's argument to justify your demands. If your mom's argument of not having been involved and therefore not needing to contribute anything is going to hold, then fair is fair. At minimum, you should be compensated use of a car to get to and from work or the cost of a rental and some form of monetary compensation for the increased premiums that will result from an at-fault moving violation and collision that was not your responsibility. We've got a lawyer on our hands, everyone. Even with the worst insurance, I have to expect that there's an increase of at least $50 a month on top of what you were paying previously. That's a good point. Insurance will go up from being in a crash like that.
Yeah.
Possibly more given your age. Insurance is very high for your age bracket. And then when that fails, I would remove the spark plugs from both of their cars and make them miss a day of work and see how they effing like it. How do they expect you to get money to move out if you lose your job? Soft brain narcs. Is the distance really accurate? 45 minutes by car is like 4 hours by bike. That's an insane thing to say unless there's a mistake there. OP responds, I didn't even realize that the bike ride would be 4 hours long. In my mind, when he said it, I thought it would take somewhere around 1 hour 30 minutes to 2 hours, which is still just an outrageous suggestion. But 4 hours is insane. I'm going to bring that up if he mentions that again, because there's no way he expects me to do 8 hours back and forth.
It's a full shift.
That's a full shift. Commenter number 4 says, this is a tough one. Dad should obviously step up and take care of this. Why isn't the insurance covering a rental while yours is in the shop. Oh, I didn't know that was a
not
thing.
every insurance policy has that.
Yeah. Are you living rent-free at your parents'? Not the a-hole. OP responds, I'm allowed to live with them rent-free as long as I'm saving money in order to move out again. I do buy my own groceries and help with the bills though, so it's not like I'm totally living off of them. As far as the rental car goes, apparently that's not something I chose to add to my plan. So something stupid on my part. But we do have an update. Let's just jump right in, shall we?
Let's do a swan dive right into that.
For a little backstory, I've, 21 male, had been living with my parents due to some recent life events. About a month ago, I made a post here talking about how my dad crashed my car and my mom refused to let me use theirs for my commute to work. Long story short, my parents ended up paying for the expenses to have my car fixed. We did also end up sharing a car until I had mine back. Good. Thank you for finally being smart. After that, I thought it was done and over. My mom made a comment about it here and there, but it didn't seem to seriously bother her until about a week and a half ago. She demanded that I pay them all the money from my car expenses back. She said that it wasn't fair that she lost money due to an accident that she didn't cause. And I think that's fair, but I reminded her that I didn't cause it either. Dad caused the accident, and I told her I'm sorry that it ended up affecting her as well. But that didn't change the fact that my car had to be fixed and it was Dad's responsibility.
Yeah, well, because he ran the stop sign.
Yeah,
Sorry,
absolutely.
Pistachio. Ran the stop sign.
Absolutely.
Ran the stop sign, it's his fault.
She got really mad at that and started on a rant about how it was unfair and I was using them for money. And what was my dad's response to all of this? He just agreed with her. I ended up just telling her what I've already said because there was honestly nothing else to say. She's been very upset with me since then, but she never mentioned any possibility of punting me out. So imagine my surprise a couple days ago when I came home to all of my stuff being outside of the house in boxes, literally on the curb.
Dang. That's
wow.
next level buffoonery
Yes.
from these parents.
Oh my gosh.
They got in an accident in your car for no reason other than the dad was impatient.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden, they're kicking you out because what?
Yeah.
Because you're like, hey, that was your fault.
You didn't do anything at all. At all.
You just want us to pay for the damages we caused, don't you?
That is mind blowing. Oh my gosh. I was honestly shocked and mad about this, and I immediately went in the house to question my parents about this. My mom said that she was tired of letting someone so ungrateful live in her house. My dad just repeated what my mom said, but in a kinder way because I guess he thought she was being harsh. I couldn't believe it. I asked her to explain how I have being ungrateful, and she responded by basically saying, "We raised you." And how does that mean you're ungrateful for being raised?
Yeah, you raised me to be someone who keeps others accountable.
Yeah, we went back and forth for a bit and we were both pretty mad at each other. Then my mom told me to leave the house or else she would call the police on me. What is going on? This is crazy.
Where's dad for like any of this? Like, come on.
He's there. He's just like the mom is just like, I'm gonna call the police on you. And then the dad's like, I'm gonna call the police on you.
He's like, I know
That's what's going on.
I know I'm the one who caused all of this.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say anything because I'm also scared of your mother.
Right. I have no idea if anything actually would have came to that situation. But at that point, I was so confused and angry that I just went outside and called around to find someone I was able to stay with. I ended up sleeping at a friend's house. It's been a couple of days now and siblings have both been calling me. I guess my parents must have told them what happened. I'm assuming it was specifically my mom bad talking me to them. My sister agrees with my mom and says I should have paid them back the money. My brother agrees that it was unfair for them to punt me out, but also says that I should have just paid the money back. My dad has also been trying to reach me, but honestly, I've just been too mad to pick up the phone for him. I'm just so shocked by this whole situation. I wouldn't say me and my parents' relationship has always been easy street, but it's never been this bad. I honestly thought we were good until all this. The worst part is I was planning to move out and rent an apartment with a friend once their lease was up in 2 months. My parents knew that and still decided to do this. I'm just so confused and I don't understand where they're coming from. I get that they raised me and took care of me and all that, but I just feel like that doesn't give them the right to do this all of a sudden. I don't think I did anything wrong. So honestly, am I the a-hole in this situation? And we have an update, but what's our answer? No, not the answer. And we do have this update. We're just gonna roll into it really, really fast. Okay.
Chapow.
Update number 2. Some things have happened since my last post.
Huzzah!
I calmed down a bit and decided to finally answer one of my dad's calls. He started talking about how afraid he was that I was never going to talk to them again.
You think?
Then he said that things weren't supposed to go that way and the other day and apologized for mom putting my stuff outside. Apparently, the plan was to talk to me about it first, but he said that mom got caught up in her emotions. When I asked why he didn't step in, he said that it was because he didn't want to upset her anymore. I didn't really want to accept that excuse, but I took it so we could move forward.
He really was literally like, I'm sorry, I'm just really scared of your mom.
Yeah.
And I was amazed. I was getting out of it. Like, I had my get out of jail free card. She was focused on you. I was the one who crashed that car. I was astounded.
Yeah.
So I just decided to play my cards right.
Oh my gosh, dude. That was until I got another call from my brother. Mom's been absolutely crap talking me to him and my sister. Apparently, she kept comparing me to them and how good they're doing. Mind you, they're both older than me by several years. Then she went on a rant about how much harder it's been to raise me compared to them. At one point, he says that she even insinuated that I was a mistake, though he says to take that with a grain of salt, as she didn't outright say it. My brother was uncomfortable with listening to her talk about me so harshly, and he decided to call and tell me. By the way, I want to tell you that you can find full episodes with more stories just like this one on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and then search OK Storytime. That will always be there for us. There's a little bit more into the story. Should we keep going? Do you have anything to say, Riley?
Do it.
Okay. I'm feeling a mix of emotions about this right now. Part of me is still mad about the suddenly punting me out thing, but I'm mostly just sad about it all. Knowing that my mom is saying all this stuff behind my back only makes me think that she really means it. And whether she outright said it or not, hearing that she thinks I'm a mistake honestly crushed my soul. I don't understand why still, but I guess she has her reasons. I don't really want to talk to her again, but I do really want to know the truth of why she feels this way about me. I'm not sure about dad yet. I'm not the type to cut people off, and having to do it to one person is already too much for me. I'm still staying with my friend as of now until I figure out what I'm doing. I guess I'll see how it goes from here. And that is the end of that story. Oh.
I don't know if my mom has like a emotional regulation disorder of some kind.
Perhaps.
Or if it's maybe like misplaced, like maybe mom can't give dad the consequences of this because of, I don't know, maybe it's like, I don't want to admit that there's problems in my marriage. So instead I'm going to make it problems with my kid. I don't know.
It's not a very mature thing to do on all fronts except for OPs. Like really OP didn't do anything at all.
No, nothing. And it's, you know, the human brain is a mysterious monster. And
you're so right about that.
There's so many different reasons that the mom could have been acting like that. However, none of it was right. All right?
Yeah. None of it was right.
We raised you. I'm pretty sure that's what you're supposed to do when you have a kid.
Yeah.